Okay, first of all, we all know who you're talking about. You're talking about goat. That's all I hear from people, from gay men and women, is how hot goat is. So just next time, just name goat. Just say goat. Okay. So, anyways, um, I'm married, and uh, so I know that's not what you were saying, but you were kind of, the way I understood what you said was, how do beliefs play on relationships? Well, I think it's interesting if you look at Jews, for example. I don't have the statistics right here, and I'm not going to look them up because I really don't care that much. But my point is this: for years and years and years, Jews have married outside their faith, which was at one point kind of forbidden, but as they've gotten, I'm saying overall, less religious, and I'm not talking about certain sects. But for example, I knew a Jew when I was back in the Air Force who was the roommate of my girlfriend, and she was going out with, I don't even think he was Christian. I mean, he was pretty bohemian. I don't know if he was an atheist. He probably would have considered himself spiritual in some manner. Uh, However, I just think now we're not as sectarian as we used to be as a nation or a people, and people marry outside their belief system. Like especially where I'm at in the Midwest. Um, now you'll find Baptists marrying Methodists. Well, that's not that stunning of a concession or whatever. But, there was especially around here, because I'm not really in the South, but I'm in Missouri, and it's kind of the South. Catholics were stigmatized for years and years. But now, if you say Catholic to somebody, most of the men around here, because they're low down dogs, will just go, "Oh, you were a Catholic schoolgirl? Did you keep the uniform?" You know, so I don't know. And problem is, most, I'm not going to say most, but I've read in a lot of different places, women in churches complain that their husbands won't go. They'd rather, watch sports on Sunday. The men are just getting less religious, and fortunately for us, children usually take their religious beliefs from their father rather than their mother, according to what I've read. And I'm not going to pull up the statistics on that. You know, but that's just what I've read. So the fathers attend church less because they think it's boring and stupid, and they don't like sitting in a pew listening to usually in most denominations, some old man talk about things that just seem kind of silly. I mean, they might not call themselves atheists. They're Christians, but they don't go to church. They don't care about it. They're not really interested. I've found that a lot. Like at my job, I do a lot of demographics, and it's mostly like baby boomers. I've noticed this in Vietnam era guys. Um, they just don't put anything down for religion because they don't care. So I think like my brother married a Mormon, and he's a Mormon, but when I try to pin him down about doctrine and beliefs and stuff, he doesn't want to talk about it. He doesn't give a shit about it. It's just something to kind of make his wife happy. And I think that that's the approach that a lot of people take, is if one person in a relationship believes something, you kind of just nod, and yeah, otherwise the relationship's not going to last. I'm blessed. I was stationed overseas. Well, when I was in the States, I always had girlfriends that weren't particularly religious. A couple of them might have been religious, but the subject just didn't really come up, you know? I don't know. I'm kind of rambling. It's late. I'm getting tired. But anyways, I'm lucky enough to went to Japan, where 80% of people are atheistic. I found an atheistic woman that, I'm happy with most of the time. No relationship is perfect. But anyways, I just don't think faith is that important. Unless one of the people is like a big born-again Christian or a devout Muslim, it might be with Muslims. I think it is, because I think they're forbidden to... But wait, I take that back, because a buddy of mine's going out with a Muslim chick. And the Muslim chick's father is like an imam. Is that how you pronounce it? Imam? In St. Louis. He says she fucks like a wildcat, you know? So, I don't know. I just think in this day and age, people are starting to care less and less about it. And even though we've had this, like, religious revival, I think it's a very small vocal minority. You know, most people, when they find out about the Pentecostals handling snakes and drinking poison, you know, they kind of wonder. They're not making children do this, are they? I mean, adults only. Otherwise, it's child abuse. They take the fucking kids away. I mean, technically, we're a religious nation because, you know, we have 85% believe in God and all that. But in reality, yeah, I don't think it's a socially motivating factor. It's just like being Catholic now is not stigmatized, which sounds silly. Why would you stigmatize Catholics? For a long time in this country, they were. Now, I don't know anybody who would go, oh, I can't date her. She's a Papist. You know, she's a Catholic. She worships the Pope. You know, I mean, I think your question would be more relevant 20, 25, 30 years ago than it is now. Well, it's 2008. I think it'd be more relevant around the time of Kennedy's election and not this election cycle. So I don't think faith is that big of a deal. Now, if you're an outspoken atheist, yeah, you're going to get on nerves just because you're too outspoken about it. But I have friends at work that are religious, and I gave them my email address, and now they send me these religious forwards. I just told them to knock it off, and they didn't quit talking to me. They just said, sorry, I didn't know you weren't religious. And, you know, supposedly atheists are the most distrusted and hated people in America, but, I mean, when I get that reaction, I go, okay, let's talk about this. And I always make the person feel stupid, because usually I know more about the subject than they do. So, I don't know. I don't think religion really has that big of an effect on relationships unless that person is a fanatic. And I think that the fanatics are such a minority that they tend to turn off the moderate Christians, and the moderate Christians are probably the vast majority of them. So, yeah, that's my thoughts. Not well thought out or organized, but my thoughts on the matter.